Hi guys, this is Julia for Ways to Wonder with another episode of Traveling in Times of Corona. With this series of interviews, I want to introduce you to people who are traveling full-time despite of the Corona pandemic situation. Today I'm going to interview Max. He is working remotely, traveling at the same time. I am really excited to hear his story, so let's call him. Hi Max, thank you so much for jumping on this interview with me today. I am super excited to be talking to you and hear about your experience.
Hi Jules, good to speak to you. I'm Max, calling from Mexico, and I'm looking forward to this talk.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from? Where are you at the moment? You stayed in Mexico, like where are you exactly?
I grew up in Italy. My parents were travelers all their lives, and I lived abroad in a few places: Europe, Australia, South America, US, and now I live and work in Amsterdam. At the moment, I am working remotely in Yucatan, Mexico.
In Yucatan, wow, that's exciting.
Yes, I am in Valladolid to be precise.
So give me a little overview of your travel history. Where have you been for the past year?
It's a long discussion. It will take 20 minutes alone. But roughly, I started traveling when I was a little kid with my parents. And I started my solo trips when I was in my teenage years. I took a gap year I spent in South America. And now I travel for pleasure. And I work remotely from abroad. Also, I worked for 4 years as an adventure travel guide, bringing people all over the world to new places and tropical countries.
So now in the pandemic situation, where have you been when you first heard about COVID?
When I first heard about it, I was in the Netherlands. I had just quit my job because I wanted to work remotely. How fun is that? And I quit my job about 2 days before the pandemic news hits the world. It was March 14th, and I remember it was right about March 17th where everyone started going from haha Corona to like Corona. So there I was. I had quit my job to work remotely. I had just started my business, which was about festival clothing. So imagine the best timing for both. And I had travel plans to travel in the Mediterranean, so Turkey, Greece, Italy, Spain, Israel, for the coming months, which of course didn't go through.
So that's how the situation also impacts you personally, right? You had plans for your business, you had plans for your travels, and you couldn't do that at the moment. Is that right?
No, I had to invent other things which were also fun.
You went with the flow and everything worked out in the end.
Pretty much. It was a fun story actually. We had a flight on Saturday, no, on Friday of the following week. And I spoke to my girlfriend at the time and I told her, hey, let's anticipate a flight to tomorrow. Let's fly to Turkey right away. And she said, okay, let's do it, but let's fly on Saturday instead of Friday. Not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. So we can go to a little celebration. So we go at the celebration, and at the celebration, we open the phone and we find out that the president of Turkey says from tomorrow morning, Saturday at 6 a.m., all incoming flights are banned to Turkey. So we missed our flight to Turkey. We hopped on the first available flight, which was a flight to Switzerland, where we spent some time in an isolated hut in the mountain with no electricity. That's when I got COVID as well. I somehow got COVID in a plane and lived it through in this little hut without electricity. And then I went to Italy for some time, where I spent time with my family. And I finally returned a few months later to the Netherlands.
Wow, that's already a really unique story that you like go to Switzerland, you catch COVID on the plane, and you get well again in a little hut without electricity. Like, how have you been? Like, what were the symptoms?
Classic symptoms, not too bad, not too severe. I lost the sense of taste and smell before people knew about it. So I was a bit like, wow, it's strange to be eating a dish and getting no pleasure out of it, just chewing stuff in your mouth. So that was strange. But I think my diet of chopping wood every morning to stay warm got me out of the fever quicker.
And how long did it last? How long did the symptoms last?
About a week.
About a week. And then you were fit again, or did you have to, were you challenged with some after symptoms like breathing problems or anything like that?
I was fit again.
So when was all of this? When did this happen? Like, Corona is already now for 1 year. So when was that in the Corona time scale when you went to Switzerland?
I went right about at the beginning of the crisis, so in mid-March. I came back in May or June or something. And then I looked for a job because I had just quit my previous job. And it was a crazy adventure where I accepted and refused 4 different jobs. Eventually landed the job I have now. I'm a data analyst at a big fashion company. And during the summer, I traveled to Spain and to Belgium. I bought a motorhome that I converted into I bought an old old Mercedes van that I converted into a motorhome. So I spent 2 months in Italy building that.
So.
And I went to Egypt for a few weeks. In Egypt, I was about to come back to the Netherlands, but together with my girlfriend, I decided to miss my flight and fly to Spain. Spent some time in Barcelona, then flew to the Canary Islands, spent some weeks there, came back to the Netherlands, and finally went to Mexico, where I am right now.
And with all these travelings, you didn't have any issues crossing the borders in Europe?
Not at all. I feel like all the limits that the governments put are more there to discourage people instead of actually preventing people. It sounds like it's impossible to go anywhere at the moment. But if you actually look into it, it's not impossible. It's very much feasible. All you need is PCR tests and antigen tests, which are a discomfort every time people scrub your brain, but then allow you to be in warm places, also safer places. Egypt, for example, has very low COVID incidence. So they're more there to discourage people from making plans and keep them home. Practically speaking, the limits are very feeble.
But it didn't scare you from traveling? Even going to Mexico, there were no problems. You just went to
Mexico doesn't even need a PCR test. They just check you on arrival. So you hop on a plane, you go to Mexico. There's no controls whatsoever.
And
of course, you have to respect the measures. You have to, if you go in countries where you wear a mask, you have to wear a mask. Every country has their own rules. There's curfews, non-curfews. Whenever you go back to your home country, you have to make tests to make sure that you're not carrying the virus. But as long as you follow precautions and follow the guidelines, limits are very few. And there's a lot of potential advantages. The flights are very cheap to go pretty much anywhere. There's less tourism, so everything is more chill and more authentic in a way. And there's more opportunity to work remotely as well, because the companies allow you to work remotely and don't need you in the office.
Very true. Yes, that's a really good point. And how is the situation in Mexico at the moment?
Very chill. They have masks. They have, I think they have curfew. I don't know. But the rule of thumb is that if the cases go up, there's more restrictions. Egypt, on the other hand, has no rules whatsoever. No one really wears a mask. The cases are really low. And I think you are supposed to pay a fine if they catch you without a mask. And the fine is €2.50 or something in Egypt. So as long as the cases are low and people are safe, you're not required to wear a mask, which was the case in our time there.
Have you ever been asked to get the vaccine or pushed towards the idea?
Not really. I am young, healthy, and fit, and I've had COVID already, so I'm really at the tail end of the vaccination program. I had COVID, so a vaccine won't really do much, because all a vaccine does is to give you the tools for your body to develop antibodies and store them in your body. And I had COVID, so I already have antibodies stored in my body. So I'm not against the vaccine, but I think vaccines are good and they save lives. There's not much benefits to get it because I already have what it needs. So if I will be asked forcefully and if it will allow me to travel to places, I have nothing against taking a vaccine.
So my next question would be about social interactions. For the past year, have you observed any differences in social interactions?
Definitely, like everyone else, differences are everywhere. I think on the downside, strangers are much harder to reach because they're much more guarded. Even the fact that everyone has to wear a mask makes it hard to really connect with people. And if you travel in faraway countries, for example, I was couch surfing. I don't know if you're aware of couch surfing.
Of course.
I was couch surfing last spring, right at the peak of the coronavirus. And couch surfers were really chill, but I got a lot of answers that were like, sorry, but because of the crisis, I'm not hosting anyone. So on one way, a lot of people are more guarded and it's harder to reach people, especially locals in faraway countries.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, because you cannot party, for example, or you cannot get smashed at the bar and things like that, it allows you to build much closer personal connections to those around you, to your housemates, to your partner, to your friends. It allows you to really connect without the loud music blasting in the background, or without the intoxication, or without the rush of everyday activity. So in that sense, I really liked it.
I really appreciate your positivity. You always seem to find positive aspects in every situation. Is that right?
That's us. We're humans and we adapt. That's what we've been doing since the birth of man, and that's what keeps us happy and alive, understanding the situations and making the most of it.
What are your further travel plans?
I'm really living my life a week or two at a time. I don't know what I will do in 2 weeks. I don't know where I will be. Amsterdam is my base, so I will be coming back there. My room is rented out, so I don't have a place to stay. So I'm really just improvising it as time goes by. And because it's also really hard to plan given all the restrictions changing all the time. So I live it, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks at a time. always with the intention of being in warm and sunny places with good food and relaxed coronavirus restrictions.
So you are in Mexico at the time just for pleasure, you said, right?
Work and pleasure. Yeah.
Okay.
I took some days off, traveled with my girlfriend. We circled all the Yucatan Peninsula, very nice, very pretty. And I also work on the side, so a bit of both.
And are you planning to continue traveling with your motorhome?
Yes, I was supposed to start in 2 weeks. However, Italy is getting into a lockdown again. So is Austria with its mandatory quarantine. So if I want to reach the Balkans, which is my ultimate destination, I will have to pass through a lot of red zones, which is feasible, but not really the best pleasurable travel at the moment.
I hope it will be possible soon, and maybe we will meet each other somewhere in the Balkans, in Europe, with our motorhomes.
Excellent.
That would be really nice. So are there any social media handles or anywhere people can follow your journey, or do you share any of your travels?
No, not really. I don't have Instagram. I have Facebook. I post photos there once in a while. I tend to accept people who I've met already or whom I have a personal connection with. So if you're interested, just whoever is listening, drop me a message if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer.
And it's even a greater pleasure to me that I had the opportunity to talk to you and hear about your experience and perspective, which was very interesting, by the way.
Thank you. I hope that this can help inspire people who have spent months at home and show them that there is a chance to be safe and also to enjoy these precious years and really be in the place you want to be with the people you want to.
Yeah, that was about to be my next question. If there's anything that you want to tell people, let them know. But I guess you just say it.
Yes, people, don't put your life on pause. Live what you love and find a way. There's always a solution.
So thank you so much for taking the time for this interview.
Thank you, Jules.
And yeah, I hope to see you somewhere in the world in the future.
We are connected, so if I pass through Austria, I'll make sure to drop a message.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you again, and until next time.
Enjoy.